Hey, what's up, everybody? Onepeg here. As you can see on the left, the installation of patch 14 has begun. I couldn't sleep, so figured we would just get up and talk about the patch notes. So I'm going to slide these over a little bit so that we can see them a little bit easier. It'll be a little bit easier to read. We're just going to bring this into frame a little bit, and we can talk all the way through it. Now, these are the forum posts that they put out. There's a link right here on Twitter. You can just click on it. I'll put it in the description as well, just so that it makes it easier for everybody. But without further ado, here's the patch. The update will not affect Escape from Tarkov Arena. So for those of you wondering if Arena is wiping, the answer is no. New content, Ground Zero. The Ground Zero location situated in the city center of Tarkov has been added to the game. Now, Ground Zero would be referring to where the EMP actually touched off. A large number of infrastructure facilities of the modern city, banks, cafes, restaurants, stores, pharmacies, and so on. All this is towered by skyscrapers of Tarkov. In the very center of the location is the main Russian branch office of Terra Group, where the original conflict began. So we're going to see the branch offices of Terra Group, where all of the fighting started, which is very interesting. The most violent clashes between USEC PMC operatives and Oman took place on the facility's premises. The location is intended for beginner players from level 1 to 20. PMCs of 20 plus will not be able to access this location. So this is very interesting. I'm interested to see how they end up actually structuring this, because obviously the majority of people that are going to be playing this wipe will have already played prior wipes, I think, and they will all have experience. So this will be interesting to see. Scavs will have access to the location at any player level, though. New starter quests have been added to the location. Visual cues for new players have been added to the location. Quest debut checking renamed to background check. Shortage supplier gunsmith part 1 received updated text descriptions. A new boss, Kalante. Kalante has been added to the streets of Tarkov. He's a former officer of the MVD, Ministry of Internal Affairs. During his service in law enforcement, he had a reputation as a vile man, whose behavior was sometimes feared by his co-workers. During his work, he often resorted to his favorite method of interrogation, a rubber baton, as well as other non-statutory pressure on someone who was not to his liking. Thanks to his physical strength and bold temperament, after the events of the Terror Group scandal, he formed a gang and began to do what he himself was recently supposed to combat, looting and banditry. However, before the conflict, he often provided protection to local businessmen. For example, his good relations with Kaban are well known. So he's connected to the, criminal underground element. Kalante has a small number of guards, prefers to stay in one position, and occasionally patrols his territory. So this is interesting. This is the first time that we will see a scav boss openly patrolling an area. If he feels he has the upper hand, he may switch to his police baton, so he could end up rushing you down with the baton. He lives in the area around Kilmov Shopping Mall and the Tarkov Academy of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. So somewhere around the northern side of streets. Kaban's new guards. Boss Kaban is joined by his closest associates, Bazmak and Gus. Since the time of Kaban's active involvement in business, they have served as his loyal associates, solving many delicate issues for him. So he's going to have lieutenants now. Their loyal service and their exuberant character made them his most trusted confidants. In their spare time, these two dandies like to dress up at Ragman's place and organize illegal street races through the streets of Tarkov in tuned cars from Kaban's dealership. Bazmak and Gus always stay close to Kaban and charge into battle for him. They prefer their unique clothes to their battle gear, though they are occasional exceptions. Bazmak has special fondness for machetes and Gus for crowbars. So again, it seems there's going to be some new and interesting boss mechanics where these guys are going to try and rush you down and do more melee level stuff. All right, we have a shoreline rework that was also added to this. Visually reworked most of the landscape, keeping the main points of interest intact. Added a new area, a small cattle farm which is home to smugglers and scavs. Updated light sources. Optimized most of the location, completely redesigned the culling system. So this is interesting because there were a lot of historical culling points that didn't work. Things were disappearing at distance depending on where you were standing. So that this will be good, I think, if they've re-optimized it. Hopefully that will add to some frame rate stuff that people were experiencing. Reworked location borders. Concrete fence replaced by minefields and snipers in most areas. Obviously, it gives it a little bit more of an immersive feel when you don't have a random fence. The location is also slightly expanded in some areas. Cool. Reworked some points of interest, including the addition of new quests and activities in several previously empty zones. I'm going to guess this has something to do with like the northwest corner, kind of like north of where the western drone would be. That whole area just seems like it was horribly unused. So that will be good. Some areas have been reworked to improve gameplay, added a river crossing, reworked almost all elevations and sniper positions, as well as scav areas of interest, etc. So this is cool too. I wonder if we'll be able to get up on the roof of power now. That'd be kind of cool. Added more than 30 new containers and Jaeger stashes. 30 containers and Jaeger stashes. Nice. 1,200 visual and minor bugs. Okay. New weapons, equipment, and loot. Added a number of new items, weapon modifications, equipment, and customization. New weapons. A KBP 9A91 9x39 compact assault rifle. We saw this before, which looked very interesting. The 9A91 is nasty. A VSK 94 9x39, so they're really kind of leaning into the 9x39 rifle, giving the 9x39 some more meaning. The SIG MCX Spear, that's dope. 6.8 Creed assault rifle, so that's dope. An MCX Spear is going to be fun. That's probably not going to be till late game, though. It might even be a quest unlock, because that's one of those more like exotic rifles that we probably won't see very early unless you're pulling it out of a weapon crate somewhere. An RPD 7.62 39 machine gun, which is what the new boss has already been shown to be using, and an RPD N 7.62 39 machine gun. Updated the models and animations for the Simonov SKS 7.62 39 carbine. Now, obviously, these rifles, along with all the other stuff in the game, is all going to come with new recoil mechanics. So changes in new mechanics. An achievement system has been added to the game. Players will receive achievements upon completing various objectives. Earned achievements will not be lost with wipes. You can view the earned achievements in the Achievements tab on the character screen. So that's going to be kind of cool. Hall of Fame. A new hideout zone, Hall of Fame, has been added to the game. The zone serves as a place where you can display mementos. For displaying the dog tags of players to the opposite faction killed by your PMC, you get a bonus to combat skills leveling. The higher the level of the eliminated player, the greater the skill bonus. So high-level bears and USEX for the opposing faction, you can put them on display, and that will give you a bonus to combat skills leveling. Kind of a cool idea. You can add items to your favorites. Such items will be displayed in your profile. So that's cool too. I dig that. Little bragging right kind of stuff. New hitbox and armor system. So this is another thing. So we have new hitboxes on armor where now you're going to be able to have soft zones underneath, like in armpits, around plates. This is going to piss off the Chad gaming community a lot, because most people will like start looking at tier 6 armor with like side areas that only have like maybe tier 3, and then these pockets where when the gun is raised, you'll be able to slip shots in and drop people. That's going to really, really piss off the W key enthusiasts, and it suddenly brings shotguns way in terms of what's workable and what's viable. It makes a whole lot of ammo, like flesh damaging ammo that at one time was not that great. Like a high-speed flesh round, like a Whisper, is going to end up being something that's relatively good now, although Whisper isn't all that fast, but you understand what I'm saying. The head is divided into separate simple hit zones, which coincide with the protection zones of helmets and masks. 3 hit zones have been added to the head area: front neck, throat, and back neck. Neck and a face collider. Thorax and stomach hit zones are divided into front, back, and sides. The pelvic hit zone is divided into front, groin, and back, and buttocks. Hits to these zones cause damage to the stomach zone. Forearm hit zones have been reduced in diameter. So this is also interesting. The forearm hitbox being reduced lowers the potential for like penning arms when you're shooting or trying to shoot people in the chest. The death screen now shows more detailed information about the area that was fatally wounded. For example, thorax, upper back. So now you'll have a more detailed readout to tell you whether or not you got hit in the side. 37 ballistic plates have been added to the game. 7 for the chest section, 6 for the rear, 20 universal plates for the chest and rear, and 4 for the sides. Ballistic plates have their own parameters specific to armor: strength, material, armor damage absorption, ricochet parameters, armor type, etc. So this is a major overhaul of the armor system. Ballistic plates are divided into different formats depending on the size and format of the armor section. So depending on what type of armor you're wearing and how big those plates are supposed to be and where they're supposed to slide into, the size and shape of them is going to determine whether or not it fits in certain vests. Ballistic plates cannot be inserted or removed while wearing the body armor. It must be removed first. The visual appearance of a ballistic plate depends on its durability. Ballistic plates can spawn in appropriate areas and containers on locations. Ballistic plates are affected by the light armor and heavy armor skills depending on the type of ballistic plate, light or heavy. So this also changes how these rigs work, because multiple plates will likely fit in different rig systems, which changes the desirability of those rigs altogether. Added separate ballistic plate zones on the character, visually matching the location on the body armor. The hit registration zones of ballistic plates of the same format have the same position in all body armor and plate carriers with slots for this plate format. So depending on what type of ballistic plates you have in, what it's saying is that the area that they cover will depend on what the plate looks like. The dimensions of the ballistic plate zones are the same as the average dimensions of real ballistic plates of that format. So again, depending on the size and shape, it will actually cover those areas. Ballistic plate slots and integrated armor slots have been added to body armor vests and plate carriers. All ballistic plates of the corresponding format can be installed in the armor plate slots. The slots of some armor plates can be fitted with plates of several formats. For example, the chest section of the TAC M2 plate carrier can be fitted with SAPI and granite format plates. So the ballistic properties of what they will block and how they degrade will depend on the plates that you put in the rig, not anymore necessarily on the rig itself. Although the plate size and shape will determine what rigs it fits into, and ergo what areas of the body and how large of an area on the body those rigs will cover. So this is going to become much more involved than what it used to be. And there's going to be a lot of diving in on different combinations for things like weight and light or heavy, protection amounts, how fast stuff breaks down, how many things it can take from a hit. There's going to be a lot of this that gets theory crafted after this is all set in. Body armor protection is no longer uniform. It now depends on what areas of the body armor visually it protects. For example, no body armor protects the armpit area. So again, somebody ADSs and somebody gets hit from the side and they get shot up in the armpit, they're probably toast if they get hit with a flesh round underneath. And again, this is going to be something that is really going to piss off Chads. The durability of body armor has been converted to the durability of the installed armor. So the armor plate will determine what the durability is, and that will obviously change as you swap plates in and out. An armored collar that protects the neck hitbox has been added for a large number of body armors. So now you'll be able to actually put collars on a lot of this stuff. Body armor vest cost, weight, and penalties have been adjusted. Some of the cost, weight, and penalties have been moved to the ballistic plates. So obviously, like a M2 TAC rig weighs next to nothing when there's no plates in it. So it's going to depend on the plates that you insert into it that's going to determine how much it weighs and then all the movement penalties that will be associated from them. Integrated armor slots have been added to a large number of helmets. Helmet durability has been converted to the durability of the integrated armor. Integrated armor in the body armor and helmets. Okay, now this subsection is going to go into the integrated armor stuff. The protection of armor and helmets is divided into separate zones depending on which section this zone protects, sometimes several. These are the slots with integrated armor. Kind of like when you have a slap plate on a helmet. Integrated armor zones have their own separate durability. For example, you can now reduce your opponent's chest zone armor durability and not damage the durability of other armor zones if you shoot them in the chest. So it's going to depend on what plate, what armor area you impact that will cause the durability loss, and you will probably be able to just deal with that specific area for repair or replacement. In the inspection window, you can see exactly which areas of the vest or helmet are protected and what their durability rating is. Integrated armor cannot be removed or replaced. Each integrated armor has its own armor-specific settings: durability, material, armor damage absorption, ricochet parameters, armor type, and others. So again, it's going to depend on the material it's made out of, whether or not it's light weave, whether or not it's heavy, whether or not it's steel, whether or not it's ceramic. Integrated armor is affected by the light armor and heavy armor skills depending on the type of armor. Balancing. The damage parameter on various armor materials has been adjusted to reflect the new durability values. So there you go. Now, repair. When repairing body armor, durability is distributed according to the following priorities: ballistic plates first, and then integrated armor. You can also repair ballistic plates as separate items. When repairing helmets, durability is distributed according to the following priorities: integrated armor first, face, top, eyes, jaws, back of head, ears, and other. Integrated armor can receive an enhancement when it is repaired. So there are parts of armor, like helmets, for instance, that are integrated. It's part of the helmet. It's not like a removable piece like a slap plate would be. Same thing for certain body armor types. A fort armor, for instance, is going to end up having some side protection. but that side protection is likely integrated, which means that if you take a hit from the side, the durability of the actual piece of forward armor would be reduced. But let's say the forward armor has a removable plate, and then you can replace that. If it only got hit in the chest plate and not in the sides for that integrated armor taking durability loss, by repairing just the chest plate or replacing the chest plate, you would have a full durability fort again, because it wouldn't be taking durability loss from any of the integrated pieces. So you could see durability loss on a fort, but that's only if it takes integrated damage from the sides. Okay? All right. Chances for armor to receive common and rare enhancements while being repaired have been increased. So we have a higher likelihood of taking in the main enchantment, whatever, that you want to get in this case would be the one that reduces damage received, obviously. Interface. You can now see the durability of different armor zones and ballistic plates by hovering over the durability digit of a vest or helmet. So that's cool. This also works for flea market offers. So you would hover your mouse over the actual durability, like the durability value, and it would tell you what you've got. So that's good. Being able to have those details is something that all of us nerds definitely want to see. You can see brief information about the presence and quantity of ballistic plates in the posted flea market offers. So that's cool too. By hovering over it, it'll tell you what ballistic plates exist to buy on the market to replace the one if it's damaged. Slots for ballistic plates and integrated armor, if the vest has them, have been added to the vest and helmet inspector screens. The order of the slots is always the same. Armor class is now displayed with a Roman numeral icon on the ballistic plate icon and in the armor class list. So these guys use the GOST standard, which goes up to 6. The American system, the English system goes up to 4. That's the NIST standard. So if they're still using GOST, then it will go up to class 6, and you just need to know your Roman numerals. Flea market and trading. The flea market ban has been removed from a large number of body armors because of the ballistic plate system. Ballistic plates of protection classes 5 and 6 cannot be sold on the flea market. Wow. Ballistic plates have been added to the inventory of various traders. Now, if I may soapbox here just for a second, I still say and have said for a long time that the idea of trying to combat RMT by keeping the stuff off of the market isn't doing the player base any favors. The RMTers are still going to do what they're going to do. They're going to figure out ways around it. I don't think that this kind of stuff slows this at all. At all. And unless there is an abundance of plates available from traders, I don't see how this actually helps anything. But that's just me. Vaulting and obstacle interaction. We have vaulting now. Obstacle vaulting has been added to the game. There are 2 types: climbing the obstacle and remaining on it. For example, climbing a crate to fire at an enemy from on top of it, or vaulting over it, jumping over a small fence to take a shortcut. Each of these types has different animations for different heights, different parameters of stamina and arm stamina consumption, and different action speeds depending on the negative effects. During a sprint, you can jump over obstacles without the goal of climbing them. If vaulting is performed while walking, the loudness of such actions will be noticeably lower than jumping and sprinting. So that's good. So we have a much quieter, vaulting sound. I'm going to guess it won't be inaudible, though, so anybody that's got good ears will likely be able to hear it anyway. For the convenience of overcoming obstacles as an option has been added for the game's settings. Vaulting over medium obstacles, where you can choose auto or hotkey. If you select auto, your character will climb over medium and low height obstacles all by themselves automatically. If you select hotkey, you will need to press the jump key to initiate vaulting, but this way you can control the character's actions more precisely. I would argue against doing any auto vaulting. I would just hit the jump key. The character now stops if he hits a wall while walking or sprinting. So that's interesting. You can't just sprint into a wall and make noise anymore. That kind of takes away a little bit of a brain play, but I can see the point. Shoulder swapping. The ability to move firearms from the right shoulder to the left shoulder and back has been added. This can be useful when you want to fire from the left side while behind cover. So now you can quick peek from both sides. Shoulder transition is available during walking, crouching, leaning, and other actions. Shoulder transition is not available while prone and overhead and side blind fire. Positioning the weapon on the left shoulder imposes a penalty. The weapon has additional sway when moving. So they are at least trying to be a little bit immersive with introducing the idea of having a non-dominant side being utilized. I personally would like to have seen them take this a step further where you choose the dominant hand for your PMC. I think that would have been a cool idea where you can, have the left be the dominant side and then swap to the right shoulder and have that be the weak one. But, whatever. Control settings. All control settings have been reset to default. So again, this is something to pay huge attention to. You will want to reset your keybinds. You definitely want to reset your keybinds. Added shoulder transition action to the default key of mouse 4. So I don't even know if I have a mouse 4. I'm going to have to find one. Added vaulting action. Default key is space. Press type is continuous. The jump action has been reassigned to the spacebar key with release press type. Try these control settings in-game before changing them. So what continuous means you hold the button down. So rather than pressing the button and then releasing it, this will add a bit of a delay, though, because it will look for the release of the button before this continuous action takes place. But what it also means is that you'll be able to sprint while holding the spacebar down, and they'll automatically vault as long as the spacebar is held. Once you release it, then they would jump. But if you're holding the spacebar down for the vault or whatnot, there's likely an internal timing thing here that would get rid of the release portion of that, where you wouldn't just suddenly jump because you held the spacebar too long. But jump on release seems like it would be fine. Preset ammo loading. You can now save settings, presets for loading ammunition into mags sequentially, as well as quickly loading mags using these presets. So for all of you that like to set up mags with combos of ammunition using high pen and then flesh stuff to follow, this will be a godsend for you. Players can name each preset, select the appropriate loading preset, view its contents, and compare it to other loading presets. The magazine loading preset is divided into 3 blocks. Top, how many and which cartridges will be at the top of the magazine. Belt, which cartridges will be first. Loop, how many and which cartridges will be cycled in the magazine belt. And then bottom, how many and which cartridges will be at the bottom of the mag, which cartridges will be last. You can create up to 30 unique magazine loading presets with a limit of 5 presets per caliber. That's still kind of sick. New recoil mechanics, and we know that there's a full recoil rework. This patch is actually chock full of stuff. The recoil mechanic has been improved to make it more realistic and comfortable for players. A special emphasis has been placed on improving the feel of semi-auto and short burst shooting. New recoil mechanic now includes a variety of flexible settings, allowing for balance adjustments based on analytical data and player feedback. All weapon recoil parameters have been rebalanced. So we will see, because Arena doesn't have these recoil mechanics in it yet. So we will see how it feels once the game kicks off. Also, what's interesting about this is that Arena is lagging behind a little bit. Arena's not being updated at the same time as this is, so we're actually going to have 2 separate recoil mechanics in operation once this patch goes live versus how Arena is functioning, and it's going to be weird for people. After completing certain Lightkeeper quests, you will be able to unlock access to following services. Sacred Amulet service. Lightkeeper gives the character the item Sacred Amulet. While the character is wearing the amulet, all cultists on all locations do not attack you unless provoked. Rogue support. When a player purchases this service, rogues will not attack the player who ordered the service regardless of their faction. In addition, rogues will provide fire support by attacking targets that the player who purchased this service has directed their attention to. That's interesting. And then Zriachi support. When a player buys this service in that raid, Zriachi will support the player by firing at the targets the player is attacking. That's crazy. I wonder how far his reach is. Weapon rack. Now you can add the displayed weapon to your favorites. These weapons will be displayed in your profile. And now we have viewable profiles. The ability to view another player's profile page. In a player's profile, you can view gear equipped, brief statistics, rare achievements earned, favorite weapon displayed in the weapon rack, favorite items displayed in the Hall of Fame. Player profiles can be viewed on any screen of the game, including the raid exit screen after dying to another player. So you can actually get a good idea of who it was you were fighting and like their stats. Another way possibly to be able to identify people that are cheating and give them a report. Okay, AI adjustments. Adjusted peaceful and combat behavior of AI when moving from one area to another within one location. Balancing changes to trading. Change the trader prices and availability of the ammunition in the following calibers. Looks like it's just about everything. Change the trader prices and availability of armor on all loyalty levels. Adjusted various trade offers and barters of weapon attachments and other items. So there's a lot of changes. And then we have balancing changes to quests. Expanded quest rewards. You'll now be rewarded more often with unlocking previously unavailable trade offers, barters, ammo, and armor crafting recipes. Change the order of skier quests between Friend from the West Part 2 and Setup. Friend from the West Part 2, then Setup, then Inform Means Armed, then Chumming, then BS, then Silent Caliber. Okay. Change the quest objectives for Punisher 2, 4, and Tarkov Shooter 4. I wonder if they made them harder or easier. Balancing changes to crafting. Adjusted armor crafts. Now to make an armor vest, you need to find a set of fabrics and a ballistic plate that fits the form factor. I wonder if that's even going to make it worth it. Although if the ballistic plate is scuffed, that probably would work out nice because you could make something new from a scuffed plate. Adjusted ammo crafts. Reduce the production time and cost of cheap ammunition. Balancing changes to ammo. The damage and armor penetration parameters of different caliber ammunition have been revised and adjusted. So we have all kinds of new ammo pen and damage stats that are all going to have to be revisited. The muzzle devices have been rebalanced. Suppressors, muzzle adapters, flash hiders, and compensators. And then we have the BTR. So this was the most anticipated thing over probably the last 3 years when they teased this thing years ago at Gamescom. A BTR 82A has been added to the streets of Tarkov, traveling between different stop points in the city. The BTR driver offers various services to his passengers. A taxi service. The player can travel to any available point on the city in total safety. Move items to stash service. The player can send items to their stash with the status of found in raid. This service is available only for PMCs. That is insane. So we have the ability to do a loot drop. Covering fire. The player can order covering fire with the help of BTR weaponry, which provides the safest possible drop-off at the stopping point. So you can pay extra to have them lay down covering fire as they're delivering you. The service is available only after purchasing the taxi service, so as an option. The service is only available for PMCs. List of stop points. Pinewood Hotel, the cinema, the collapsed crane in the corner, the Cardinal apartment complex, the tram, and the city center. The BTR is neutral to all players unless a player starts attacking it first. If someone purchases the covering fire service, the BTR becomes hostile. When the service ends, the BTR becomes neutral to all players again. The cost of the service depends on the faction, Bear, USEC, or Scav. There's Scav Karma, the charisma skill level, and travel distance. I'm going to guess that Scav Karma will be the largest influencer of how much that costs because of the percentage decreases in costs for the taxi services for the other things when you do that. What is interesting about this says unless a player starts attacking it first, which sounds like you could destroy it, which makes me wonder if we're going to end up seeing rocket launchers. I wonder if there's going to be like a couple of RPGs on the map to blow it up. I'm thinking there might be. I hope there is. I think that'll be dope. That'll be a clip. QOL, the visual effects on the painkillers has been changed. So again, it's been changed. We don't know if they're doing blurred lines or if it's going to be, they're washing colors out or what they're going to do. The door to the expanded part of the hideout is now always open after construction. So this is interesting. Change the camera system in the hideout from railed to free cam. To move in space, WSAD. To rotate the camera, hold middle mouse and mouse movement. To zoom, scroll wheel. So now we have a free cam in the hideout for the heads down or the heads up, top down view. That's what I was looking for. Sorry, it's 3 a.m. All right, give me a break. Fix several visual bugs on streets, incorrect spawn points, lack of damage registration from melee weapons, incorrect behavior of rogues when attacking the hangar buildings, efficient issue where killed bots would remain standing, lack of muzzle flash when looking at a shooting player, AI behavior when interacting with stationary weapons, incorrect values of some parameters and character stats, fix incorrect camera behavior in the hideout when scrolling in UI elements, compatibility issues with weapon attachments, and the ability to hear outdoor sounds while inside the bunker. Oh, this is nice. Finally. Fix the ability to hear outdoor sounds while inside the bunker on reserve. I wonder if they finally got around to fixing the left-right sound of the fire on the burning cars on streets, but who knows? So yeah, that's what we have for patch notes. There's a lot. This might be the largest content patch I've ever seen Tarkov do, if I'm being honest. Because we have the BTR, we have a new boss, and then new boss minions with their own special abilities and their own, I guess, specific clothing. We have an entirely new zone for noobs. There's new guns. There's a vaulting system. Like there's a lot here, actually, more than I thought there was going to be. New recoil system, the ammo presets. I mean, this is the shoulder transitions. The vaulting stuff. I mean, like there's just a lot. I think I said vaulting twice. There's a lot here. This is cool. But anyway, guys, I'm going to try and take a little bit of a nap because the wipe is coming very soon. So I'm going to try and get a few hours of sleep, hop on when the game goes live. we'll play through it. I think we're gonna go rush Scav Karma just so that we can kind of play around with the Karma system and see where we're at with it. We'll take a couple of days and just rush Scav Karma. Feel free. We're doing this for educational purposes, so if you feel like coming by the stream and helping out, we'll probably try and push that, see if we can get some co-op extracts and stuff going. Until then, thank you guys so much for coming and watching the video. If you'd be so kind as to sub the channel here, I would very much appreciate it. As always, you can find me on my socials at OnePegMG on Twitter, at OnePeg on TikTok, and I stream every day at twitch.tv/OnePeg starting around 6 to 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is in 3.5 to 4 hours. And I will see you soon. All right? Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Peace.